Do it to yourself. That's what I really hope.
We've been singing that to each other for the last 10 minutes. It's true. You can be the architect of your own failure and there's
Demise.
just by going in too fast, too quick. You need to let it to simmer. Bienvenue, welcome once again to another one of my live streams. I'm joined in the virtual studio by the man, the mission, the beard himself, David Chernick, and myself, Gareth, of the many purple hats. And today we're talking about a problem that many young lads have, which is just getting in too quick, frankly. Trying to solve all the problems too early. And dare I say it, without full buy-in from the client. You think you've got full buy-in because they like you. They love your hat and your bow tie. But in actual fact, they're not completely sold on the solution, and they need to understand how it's really going to help them. And more importantly, they need to tell you what they really want. Am I right?
Am I right or am I right?
Am I right?
I'm right. You're right. So look, there's loads of people in sales who believe, in fact, people who are just selling. They don't even have to be in a sales job. And they describe themselves as, I'm a problem solver. Yeah.
Right.
So they're always hunting for problems to solve. And, it's not in itself an unhealthy approach. It's good to be somebody that is driven to trying to solve people's problems. But, most people, and blokes more than women, I've been told by women, tend to, always.
Nice save there. Go on, carry on.
Yeah.
I've been told.
Andy, you're like a mind reader. But that's why that's what we get told. They'll tell you a problem and you spot the solution and you come out with the solution, and that is not doing it. That's not doing it. It doesn't satisfy. Yeah, and it can get you into more trouble. But when we're selling stuff, and we feel really sort of almost like a bit of a flex when somebody tells us a problem without us having even to put that much effort into it. What's keeping you up at night, and they just come out with it and tell you this problem. You're like, oh, I know how to solve that. Yeah. I've got this thing that can solve it, or I know the solution to it. We want to jump out and tell them all about it. And especially if they've told us a problem, which is something that we have a solution to, because there's nothing that I know more about than my own solutions.
Of course.
So, and it can set you on like a train of telling them all about the solution to their problem, telling them all about how other people have faced similar problems and they've used your solution and it's helped them overcome it. And, and it's unsatisfying. There's a few problems with doing that. One is that it is unsatisfying to the person who's hearing it. Okay. And we can go into a little bit of detail as to why that is. But there is other problems that this causes, because typically in business services, and when we're selling some services and a solution, we're going to put it down in a quote or a proposal or some sort of tender. And we'll end up writing this proposal. But then halfway through writing the proposal, we'll realize that there's a whole load of stuff that we don't know. We don't know what the impact of the problem is on them. We don't know what they envisaged as being their solution to the problem. We are missing a whole load of language in which to describe the solution and to write this proposal. Yeah?
I think there's an urge for a salesman that they feel like they're trying to say just about enough just to get over the line. Once it's over the line, it's done now. Whereas what they don't realize is that sometimes you can gently push something over the line. It's far better if people walk over the line of their own free will, because they've already convinced that you've already listened to all of their problems and understand what they perceive as their solution. I think that's where the problem lies. People are going in too quick. They're trying to close
in too quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we had a little bit of banter in the green room earlier on. And when we were talking about the topic, even before we got into the green room, that it's not necessarily quick. Yeah, it's not necessarily a case of speed, because you can still do things quite quickly. So it's not about slowing down your sales process, but it's about doing things in the right order,
Right.
and not skipping a step. Buying decisions are a pretty linear process. Once they are into the bottom part of your funnel, you want to be able to coach them through a fairly linear process. Before they get into your funnel, they're swigging all over the place. They take some interest, they read a brochure, they forget about it, then they hit panic stations. Oh, we need this stuff. They'll get back on Google, do some research, get in touch with suppliers. Something else pops up, they drop it. It's always backwards and forwards. But once you get them in your funnel, you follow a process, and it's a linear process. And it starts, of course, with trying to uncover what their overriding issues are and the problems and perhaps goals that are leading to that issue. So you identify those problems, and then right, I've got a solution for this problem. We need to be able to resist the temptation to telling them what our solution is. Okay. If we come out too soon with the solution, we'll find we're being hit by a whole load of objections that are probably not that relevant. We're asked lots of detailed questions, including things about pricing and delivery, and that all makes it sound and feel like we're going in the right direction, but really we're just throwing shit at shit at a wall. Okay, and see what sticks.
I know you love a colon or two, but we don't have to be throwing shit at the wall. We could be throwing good stuff at the wall. I'm going to extend the metaphor now. Our job here is to make that wall sticky. So if whatever we throw at the wall, it stays stuck. And the only way we can do that is if to get buy-in from them. And buy-in isn't just like, I like the cut of your jib, or I think I could work with you. Buy-in is, this is my idea of how my solution looks like and how it would work. And more importantly, this is how I would feel once the solution's in place. And if you're not hearing that, and you're just saying, well, I've got my Okie Kokie 2000 over here, and that would probably supplant most of what you want, that's not good enough. Because as soon as it's in place, they'll be saying, yeah, you said all that, but what about this bit? The last thing you want is at the beginning of the journey, and the beginning only really happens once they've paid money and bought your service or your product. The beginning of that journey is tinged with regret. The last thing you want is buyer's remorse. Yeah. I mean,
buyer's remorse is that's a big topic in its own right. But buyer's remorse is what people will feel if you have managed to twist their arm and persuade them to do something.
Right.
If it's not quite right for them.
Right.
And let's face it, a lot of us get so excited about the prospect of closing a deal that we can succumb to those sorts of arm twisty kind of behaviors. But how do you overcome this particular challenge of when you want to get into something? Quite often, people will tell you their problem. They'll ask you, well, what is the solution to that? Yeah, but it's still usually too early. It's still usually too early, because again, all you're going to be doing is to be telling them all about your product and solution and benefits and features and all of that kind of stuff. But it's still too early, because they haven't themselves articulated what they would see as being an ideal solution to their problem. Yeah.
All right.
In an ideal world, what would you say would it take to overcome that problem that you are facing? And if you're able to do that, and they articulate it using their words, then it arms you for a start with the correct language in which to communicate your solution.
Yes, and you know what? It gives them also that language which they'll pick up. It's one of the best ways of realizing when you're both on the same page, and that it's likely to be a good solution and likely to be the right solution for them, is when you start using the same language as them, and they start using the same language as you.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very, very strong indicator.
Yeah.
So how do we get into that position? And we've talked many, many times, and I believe that I helped to convert you into this way of thinking. But we've got to start writing things down, or at least being able to take notes of what they have said. So when somebody's telling me their problems, I'm busy, writing these things down. Oh, could you just slow down a little minute because this sounds important? I'm just going to write that down. Can I just confirm I wrote it correctly? Did you just say
Yeah,
X,
and
Y,
at
Z?
the
Yeah,
end, after you finish that section, you say, okay, what I'm going to do is just going to go through my notes and summarize to you where I think you want to be and how you see it, what shape, color, size that you think it ought to be once we've completed or once we've got to that point, and then you repeat it back to them. And if you see them nodding or even saying words in agreement, at least you've got that confirmation that you're being heard and that you're demonstrating you were listening to them.
Yeah, they almost always nod. I mean, you can see them nodding as they're hearing their own words. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you've understood them fully. So you do have opportunities here to ask clarification questions. You said you said it hurts every time I inhale. Okay. So, can you just, what sort of pain are we talking about here? What's the impact of that on you? How does that affect your life? So you can, it's not a bad idea to help them wallow in that problem for a little bit, just so you can understand what the impact is. That's going to help later on when you start thinking about what the value would be to them. Yeah, because you want to get to that moment when we have that, value conversation. What is it worth to you? Right, now I get it. If you had what you have just described to solve that problem that's going to help you with your journey to that goal, what would that mean for you? What would that
Yeah.
mean for you?
What is it worth to you? Not just in money, but in mental rest and stress. What's it worth to you as far as company achievement and personal achievement? What is all of this worth to you? And you
Exactly.
need to get them to buy into that and also come back to you with an answer. In a way, it becomes the homework for the client to be able to identify what they'll feel like once they've got the solution in place. Where will that
Cool.
leave?
Exactly. So, what is therefore the magic question to ask, or the magic thing to say when it comes to telling them the solution? Yeah, they told you the problem. You want to get to the solution.
Right.
So, what is the magic question to ask? And it is this. And you can put it into your own words if you like, but this we trot out, and you and I will trot this out every day. In an ideal world, what do you think it would take to overcome that problem? Yeah,
Right.
in an ideal world. Yeah,
And
and
it's very
they
rarely,
will.
is it a specific machine or a specific piece of software or whatever. It's going to be, this will be the circumstance I find myself in when that problem is no more. That's
Right.
that.
So I've had somebody who an inquiry recently. They're asking me to help them select a CRM system. I said to them, in an ideal world, what do you think it would take to overcome the problems that you have? Those problems, as they had articulated, being, trying to organize all the different opportunities, being able to prioritize their time, knowing how to forecast, so they know, what deals are coming up and when to start working on all of that kind of stuff. And they're not going to turn around to me and say, "Oh, well, in an ideal world, the solution would be something like HubSpot or Zoho or Monday." They're probably unlikely to say it like that because they don't really know those packs. That's why they're looking for help. Well, in an ideal world, they're more likely to say, "In an ideal world, I'll be able to start my day every day for me and my team, knowing what activities we're going to be doing that day. In an ideal world, I'd love to know what our prospects are going to be looking like for the next quarter, as to how much resource I'm going to need, how much money we're going to generate, how much extra marketing we might have to do, all of those sorts of planning decisions. In an ideal world, I'd love to be able to know which of my salespeople are pulling in the right direction better than others, so we can start replicating some of those good behaviors. Yeah. So those are the sorts of things that people will articulate in describing their solution, and then it's helping to steer us anyway with the ultimate job. But once we've got that, and we can go into as much detail as we can afford to before they start getting fed up with us and really actually just want to hear something from us.
You see, there is a
And I will
point,
carry on going.
but there is a point where a client wants you to move from query into action. So,
Yeah.
and you need to be sensitive to that. You need to be able to be asking the questions, but at the same time monitoring the way they're responding, not just what they're saying.
For sure.
They're saying it.
For sure. And we can always improve our skills on pacing them. At this point, we are the experts. How often does somebody buy a new CRM package? Every couple of years, maybe they might review it, if that.
Maximum,
right? People that sell CRM.
And the thing is, and this is, I think, this is not really a comment on CRMs, but really about the marketplace in general. There's often people are offering so many things that apparently are free. What that means in their mind, it devalues the process of choosing the right one. Well, they're free.
By the way, folks, anybody who's watching this, this is where Gareth goes in a different tangent. But we're going to come back here.
I love a tangent. It's my favorite fruit.
We're gonna come back. Let's stop peeling that tangent.
No, but the point is they need to. The point I'm making, which is relevant to this, is they need to have buy-in to the whole process and see it has value. Often, if you're trying to get them to choose using the case in point, a CRM, and a lot of CRM solutions apparently, at least at first sight, are free. So therefore, they feel that they shouldn't spend much effort into it because it's free.
I see. So it's about you want them to commit to the process.
Yes.
Well, look, this is so. I was just about to. I was just talking about pacing them. They might buy or change or review their CRM every so often, but people that sell that stuff are dealing with it day in, day out. They are the experts in how you transact this stuff. So knowing that you do that and you know how people buy these, you need to be strong and coach them through that buying process. And you can get quite good at this. It's people are itching to hear all about the product and your features and how it will tackle their problems. And there is a part of the sales process where that happens, but it's more, in my opinion, towards the end. Once you've gone through these other steps, understanding the problem, understanding the solution in their mind, confirming that there's value in doing that. And once you have value, if I'm able to show you that our solution, our product provides that solution, which I believe it does, but if I'm able to do that and it's able to satisfy that value, do you think that we would have a deal at that point? Because if the answer is anything other than yes, then there's no point in you starting talking all about what your features and benefits are. But if they turn around and say, actually, yeah, if you can provide that solution that I've just described to you, that I'll be able to manage my sales team, that I'll be able to forecast, I'll know what activities we're supposed to be doing on a daily basis. If you can do that, and you say you can, then yeah, absolutely. And then I'll be asking, well, what would that be worth to you? If you're able, what would happen if you're able to do that? They're itching to hear about this product, but we've got to be able to pace them through that.
But until you've got the information from them that enables you to be certain in their mind and yours that there is that you're capable of providing what they're looking for, you can't even start really talking about any product in detail or any service in detail. It's the understanding on both sides that they have in their mind fairly clear of what they're trying to achieve, and they also have it clear in their mind that you now understand what that would look like.
Correct.
All right. So summarize, David. We'll wind this thing up for today.
So in summary, we are hitting them with a solution way too early. From our personal lives, probably we've been told before, oh, stop trying to solve problems. I just want to be heard and stuff like that. Yeah. We've heard it in our personal lives. The same happens in work.
I get it on a daily basis. So we
need to be disciplined in being able to. We need to be disciplined in making sure that we have understood what they have said as their problem, yeah, or their goal, however they articulate that. And then we check in with them. In an ideal world, what do you think it's going to take in order to overcome that problem, or in order for you to be able to achieve that goal? Yeah. We then, even after that. And we're confirming back each way. Even after that, we're still wanting to confirm the value. What would that be worth to you? And if it is, then we're going to organise a plan. And that plan is going to include me giving you belt and braces on what our solution is. Deal.
Fantastic. So I hope you found that useful, guys. He loves that stuff. Hopefully you'll have latched on. It always is useful if you guys can leave comments, or at least if you know people that may find this messaging, these posts, this live stream useful, please repost it. It's the only way that we're going to get more known and more people latching onto these ideas that can really help everyone. So
And
and this
if
is
anybody wants
every
some
week.
extra help on any of these issues, if you want any extra help, just message us. We'd be more than happy to share all of our know-how.
Absolutely.
And give you all the solutions.
Absolutely. We will.
You're going to have to articulate them first.
Absolutely. So on that note, thank you so much, David, for being the bright spot you always are. And guys, and thank you guys for listening to us warble on about our take on modern sales. We'll be back at the same time next week, 10ish, every Wednesday. Until then, I wish you all a safe, secure, and successful week ahead, and of course, great mental health. Bye bye now.